Oh, it is in the thing.
It's sort of in there, but I'm just winging it. There's no email. I forgot all about it until I was on the toilet this morning, and I went, oh, I should.
See, this is, if Nicole would have been on the show yesterday, this is what I would have expected she was going to talk about, honestly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, it's been going on for months.
It has,
and we've been avoiding it. But I think the Wendy segment is worth talking about it. So
For sure.
Okay, here we go. Let's record. It begins in 3, dose 1. Hold on. 1. Coming up on TMS, I watched Mendoza fly for the first time.
Aw, what are you doing with that stuffed animal, sir?
The Ebola website is for sale.
U2 is sorry for making you listen to their music.
SNL tries to save things with big guests.
Netflix made new friends.
Oh, great. I can't freaking wait to watch Friends on Netflix.
Did you hear what I did there? I did the...
Yeah, I did. It was pretty good.
Yeah, see?
Therapy Thursday and more on this episode of Der Morning Streamenheimen.
Way down deep inside of every man, there's a little boy, an Atari fan, and without any doubt, that boy will break out when he plays a game from Atari.
Have you played Atari today?
Give a man an Atari game and he'll turn into a little boy. But don't worry, he'll be grown up enough to share it.
Have you played Atari today?
Don't forget Scumbag.
The morning stream, the morning stream, the morning stream, the morning stream, the morning stream.
What's Scott Johnston and Brian Ibbotson doing? You know those guys got talent. This is The Morning Stream.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Morning Stream for Thursday, October 16th, 2014. I'm Scott.
October halfway over. For those of you keeping score.
Oh, what? Don't remind me. This is a problem I have in my modern age is that I feel like time is too fast. Yes. I mean, it really is too fast. I don't remember the last time I was bored.
No.
You remember that feeling as a kid when you'd be like, just you were bored?
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, such and such time can't come soon enough. No, it's like, phew.
It doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I see Nick do it. He'll be like, I'm bored. And I'm like, How is this even possible? With all of the freaking input you have now.
Right.
Like, you've got a million distractions constantly. Like, the worst case scenario, you could go play Minecraft at a drop of a note.
Scott.
Yeah.
We have things we have to do.
Yeah.
He's got things he likes to do.
Yeah.
And when you're only scheduling things you like to do, it's easy to get bored. When you're having to balance around everything you have to do, it's a lot tougher.
I guess so, because it's not like it's all a party all the time. It's just that time doesn't hold the same. Like a day
doesn't feel like a party.
I'll get. I hate that so much. I hate it. If they do it like a reference to that in the new Avengers movie, I may walk out of the theater.
Oh yeah, they'll put a reference in. Hey, Natasha, remember?
Yeah, remember that time?
Remember when I said I was bringing the party to you, and you said
you said this.
Doesn't
I don't
feel
see
like
how
a party.
that's a party.
Yeah, I remember that. I hate it so much.
Remember that? Well, here's Ultron. Oh, here's another party for you, Black Widow.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Here's my idea of a real party.
As a parent, I've never been happier than when my children ask their friends over for an internet computer party.
That's a party.
That's a party.
And she'd say, "Oh, I see how that's a party," she'd say.
No, you need to put those two clips together.
Oh, do I?
Yes.
It's too late now.
Oh.
I've lost all my party clips. Oh, no, there it is right here.
Hey, party time.
Oh, that's not the right one.
I don't see how that's a party.
I don't either. Those work together too, actually.
Those work together too. All
right,
right,
this
that's
one.
a good
It looks like you chose the wrong party to crash.
What's that from?
That's from Tenchu, the PS1 classic stealth ninja game. Tenchu. I have this website that I frequent that has all the worst voice acting soundtracks to all video games of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's in there. The Jill and Barry stuff, of course, are in there. By the
You
way,
are almost a Jill sandwich.
if you want to, I think I'm getting a cold. Thanks a lot, by the way. Oh, no, you didn't give it to me. Kim did.
Probably Ebola. Yeah, you can't blame me.
Yeah.
It's been months since I've kissed you.
You know, Daryl had a good point on the internet today. I don't like to give him too much credit, but he said, "Hey, 30 or one people dead from Ebola in the United States in 2014. 1 people dead from the flu in 2014 in the same country. 36,000. Where's the priorities, man?" Now, look, I understand that it's covered in a thick layer of hype and 24-hour news networks trying to make you think you're all going to die. But the realistic case is more cases will crop up. We're never going to hit that. Here's what would have to happen for that to happen.
Right. Okay, I'll follow up with this because I have a point, counterpoint.
All right, here's what would have to happen. The disease would have to mutate, which viruses can do. It would have to mutate and become an airborne virus. What that would mean is that it would be much more contagious. And that would mean that people would have to be much more careful. We'd have to do much more quarantining. There would have to be a lot more stuff go down. But even then, you would contain it. And you would be nowhere near the number of people who will die today on freeways in accidents. It'll never reach those numbers. And people say, well, why are there 10,000 people in Africa? Because have you seen the conditions there and the lack of education and the lack of a million reasons? I don't mean education generally. I mean education about the disease. And the kinds of places there. I mean, their hospitals are like freaking huts, dude. I've seen video of where these people are being cared for.
Where they're being treated.
The best treatment is coming from like Doctors Without Borders on ships and stuff where they pull up to the coast and then do a bunch of stuff and then set up hospitals and things like that. So it's just this idea that we are all on the verge of the zombie outbreak because one guy in Dallas got it. I guess there's another lady now who's got symptoms. But anyway.
The way I think about it, though, is all right. So he says 36,000 flu deaths in the U.S. out of several million people who get the flu, whereas number of Ebola deaths in the U.S. 1, actually I think 3 out of 5 people in the U.S. who have Ebola.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's got a horrible mortality. Rate
So I mean, it's not, you can't just compare apples to oranges without saying, all right, well, it's out of how many people get the flu versus how many people get exposed to Ebola.
Right, but nobody's afraid of anything else, including like, I don't know. Like do you know what I'm saying?
There is so much alarmist going on in the news. It's so, and it's funny because they'll begin with it. Well, another person has Ebola, and then they'll follow with another story. By the way, we're separating fact from alarm on topics relating to Ebola. They're capitalizing on the sensationalism of Ebola. Yet they're helping to spread that sensationalism.
No, they're terrible. That's the stupidest part about this whole thing. But here's if you go all right. If you are making out with somebody with Ebola, you're in trouble. You'll probably get the disease. But you're not going to get it by, sitting around going, I don't know. Dude, all I'm saying is people are buying into the paranoia. That's all that's happening.
For example, today I'm getting on a Frontier plane, and Frontier was the airline that was used to carry one of the Ebola patients to Dallas.
Yeah.
And I'm not concerned because I'm not coming into physical contact with the person who has Ebola.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on a plane. There might be some, I might sit at the same freaking tray table as the person who had it.
Right.
But because it's not transmitted that way, I'm less concerned about it.
Yeah. You'd have to have sexual relations with that guy. Or you'd have to
some sort of bodily fluid transfer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Share a drink.
You'd have to share a drink. Sure, you could. You'd have to, grab one of his turds and handle it. Like there's things you'd have to do.
Great. Now there's another thing I have to stop doing because of the Ebola scare.
Changing everybody's lifestyle, one symptom at a time. But here, it's gotten out of hand. It's gotten a little out of hand because it's not the perspective on it. You're right. It is a 50. What did they say? It's 50% people mortality. Who get it. Yeah, mortality rate on that thing. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, flu doesn't have that.
No,
but you can get the flu a lot easier. I mean, it's like comparing. It's like comparing. trying to think of a really good example.
Horse races with.
I was going to say it's
Betty
trying to
White.
compare your Firefly to your Terra Nova.
Oh.
They're two completely different things.
All right, that is a good comparison. And they're also, one's of a greater quality than the other, but yeah.
Exactly, yes. But, I mean, they only lasted one season.
I think you're on a single-manned mission to have the public consciousness not forget about Terra Nova. It's not the first time Terra Nova's come up on the show.
because it was just starting to get good. It was like all this like
they were figuring it out.
It's Swiss Family Dinosaur Land. We're all safe here, and then holy crap, nothing's safe. We're all like exposed, and this is horrible. And we're getting canceled.
Yeah, we're getting canceled. All the pretty people getting canceled. It's too bad because whatever. I like my science fiction, and I'd like more of it on television. But
I know people. There's nobody who's going to join me and say, "Oh yeah, that was a good show, Brian." No, everybody. No. Mary Lou, who in the chat room, get over it, Brian. That show was garbage.
Yeah, it had. I mean, it just had these sparkles of possibility. That's all.
It did, yeah.
And it was easy to see that it had missed opportunity, and that's all we're saying. I agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, from Ebola to Terra Nova, let's keep moving here. So I saw something yesterday I didn't expect to see, and I had kind of a very cinematic moment. You don't have these very often. Movies and television, they create moments with music and lighting and slow motion and things that enhance the emotion of the moment, but really in real life you never kind of run into those things. But
like when Free Willy leaps over the breakwater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Comes out of his little pen.
Yeah. Now here is an example. I need to set this up
okay.
Because I think the music will help make it. I am listening on my headphones. Here, let me kill this so you don't have to hear it. All right, here's what I'm hearing in my head. Okay, it's right here. Okay, I don't know how well you can hear this. All right, very chill. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah.
It's called A Lovely Place to Be. It's a song by Patrick O'Hearn on his album So Flows the Current. Super new agey freaking chill out music. Okay?
Right.
And this is playing.
This is what you jog to?
Yeah, well, I happen to be that day. Cuz I'm
okay.
and I don't know why sometimes jogging to like quiet, like most of the time it's either a podcast or something loud. But once in a while, I'll turn up something like this.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I think it's just because I don't know. I just get into a Zen mode. And this was me yesterday. So I'm listening to this, and I'm walking along the lakeside, and I see Mendoza. Oh, wait. I need the Mendoza sound. Hold on a second. Where is it? Here you go. All right. I see Mendoza.
He's a stark contrast in
really
comparison to the John Tesh stuff we're listening to in the background.
Oh, hold on now. John Tesh is terrible. This is actually pretty good.
This is really good.
Yeah, it's super chill. So there's a goose out there, or it's Mendoza, because I hear this. Whoops, I hear this. And I see him with a bunch of other regular geese, and they're all together. This is unusual. Usually it's him and 1,000 ducks around him. There's maybe one or two goons hanging out with him, but usually it's all ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them floating around, and then as I'm turning the corner, they all aim south, and they all lurch from the confines of Earth and fly.
Break these break these
mortal chains,
mortal coil or whatever.
Well, that would mean they die. Yeah. Anyway, they take off.
The surly bonds. That's what it was. The surly bonds.
Yes, the surly bonds of this green Earth, and they fly south in formation over the lake, and they make that sound as they go over and over. Like that.
Goodbye, Scott. Goodbye.
And I'm not sure at this point if I'll ever see him again. Until next spring. Or I don't know. Does he come back here? I don't even know what they do. I don't know what geese do. Is this his home now? Will he come back here? Will he go somewhere else next time? Did he truly fly south? Did I just catch him on a day where they were all going to go hang out somewhere? And he'll be back later.
Just going to another pond, yeah.
But it was this slow, strange, and the music was loud in my head, like this, just surging, surging in my brain. And that was the end of Mendoza. So there you go. That may have been it. That may be the last story you'll hear today.
Probably not. I doubt it. I imagine that at some point you're going to say, "Oh yeah, Mendoza was back." And I was listening to Matchbox 20. And Mendoza was back. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to some old Dookie, my old Dookie album.
Sure.
Billy Joe. All right, it's time to call Daryl. Speaking of Billy Joe, I just realized this entire time you haven't been enlarged on the screen, and that's annoying. Hold on, let's fix that now. There we go. All right, we're calling Daryl. Let's get back down to earth, back from this place we've been, and do this. It's Stump a Trek Nerd, brought to you by...
It's a backwards planet full of superstitious, xenophobic morons. Nothing makes sense if they didn't think of it first, and even then, it's simplistic drivel. Okay, so the person who submitted that quote is a massive sci-fi fan, and not only that, he's put up a lifetime's worth of experience into creating a role-playing game. The Kickstarter for that game is up, and at tinyurl.com/SOVkick. Come have a look if you're a sci-fi fan.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's cool. I am getting a cold. I can just feel it. I can just feel it creeping in because Kim's had one for all week, and the kids have had one, and how was I going to avoid this?
Right. I dodged that bullet last week. What'd
you do? Did you fight it? What'd you do?
Treadmill. For whatever reason, that is like the best medicine or the best, building up your immune system is just treadmill. You sweat it out.
Yeah, sweat it out of your system. I used to do that. I used to play basketball when I get a cold, and that used to work. You'd be real winded and choky by the time you were done, but it was good.
But you wouldn't have a cold.
Yep. Speaking of winded and choky, Daryl's on the line. Hello, Daryl.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I'm all sad about Mendoza.
I know.
He's gone.
I know. I don't even know. I mean, he didn't. I don't know what to think. Like, is this it? I think this might be it. I don't know. I don't know why I feel that way. The music may have helped me feel that way.
You won this one, Scott Johnson.
I'll see you in April. I don't know if he's coming back, but I don't know how they work. I guess I could look it up. Look up the weird knobby-headed freaking China goose that he is and see what their habits and patterns are. But I think that's it.
Scott's a mess without his little China goose.
Oh, you know what else I noticed? I noticed this.
Got a knobby head.
I noticed that when he left, well, first of all, it was crazy that it all happened while I was there. That blew my mind. Mm-hmm. But the lake is now overrun with seagulls. I don't know what's happening there.
Really?
Yeah, they're not there all spring and summer at all. Most of the fall. Suddenly, just flocks of them all over the lake, and I don't know what that means. Is this a stop for them on the way to somewhere else? Is this what they do? They're our state bird, so
which is ironic, which is unusual because you don't have any seas.
No, and it's such a trash bird. Like, it's just such a gross freaking bird. But because you know the old story, right? Let me tell you the story if you don't know it. Way back in Utah's very early state history, there was this time when the crops, because this is how people subsisted, right? It was a raw valley, and man had yet to conquer it, and they were here to
fertile land,
to find the land and farm it and make it grow, right? So they're doing that, and they had a good crop, but then were descended upon, as the tale goes, by millions of locusts. It was a huge locust infestation, and they just descended. A plague, you can almost say a plague. And it descended upon the fertile land of this great Salt Lake Valley and just started to just eat everything. The crops, just real bad. And then, like some sort of miracle, giant flocks of seagulls came out of nowhere.
Start singing.
This is all true, by the way. Then they swooped down and they ate all the crickets. And then, as the story also goes, they flew out to the salt flats and barfed up the crickets and went back for more. That's what they did. They went and they gorge on it, go back, barf them all up, come back, eat more crickets. That's the legend. Around these here parts, and that is why it was established as the state bird, because of this year in 18-something where it saved everybody. Anyway, there's the story, and now we go on with Star Trek stuff. Today is Acted Out Day, which we love. Yeah, we like days like this. So I need to have, let's see, can we do a little bit of, hold on.
Oh yeah, you have some noise, some
Yeah.
background ship noise.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this music off here. All right, we're gonna turn. We got some ship noise, and then we're gonna have this right here, which is all right. Oh, this is very. Listen, this is one of Andrew's tracks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go ahead.
Voyager, right?
I think so. Is it Voyager?
yeah.
Star Trek Inner Light. Inner
Oh,
Light.
Inner Light. That's
okay.
right.
All right, so we are going to play that. It doesn't really work, but whatever. Here is a conversation between Kirk and Spock. Brian, you'll be playing the part of James T. Kirk, James
Excellent.
Tiberius Kirk, captain of the Enterprise. I will be playing Spock, his Vulcan sidekick. And go.
All right. Spock.
Yes, Captain.
So I've been relieved.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Yes, you should have been a prosecuting attorney.
Regulations require.
Regulations. Don't give me regulations. You've wanted command all along. First little excuse you get.
Captain, What? Oh, I have not assumed command. And scene! Like the old plays of old, Scott screwed up the line. All right, good deal. There's our acting out. Daryl, you now have a chance to tell us what episode that came from. It's in the original series, and it's one of these. It's either A, court-martial, B, the deadly years, C, obsession, or D, the paradise syndrome. These would all be great perfume names, wouldn't they? Because obsession's already in there.
Yeah, I like court-martial.
Court-martial's pretty good.
That's a great. when your elected official husband is caught with a stripper, you need court-martial.
Yep. Or the deadly years.
Win him back.
Yep. All right. So while you go ahead and think about that, but before you do, I have one last thing to say about the Ebola deal.
Okay.
Let's pretend for a moment, shall we, that we live in the year 1825. Okay?
Sure. All right.
There is no global news networks. There are no flying anywhere. There is no, newspaper to tell you what's happening in parts of the
going
world.
around, sure,
It doesn't exist. And so, as it turns out, while you're out plowing the field, hoping the crickets come eat all these or the crickets come get eaten by all the seagulls, right? You're out there working away, and in Africa, a place you barely know exists, 68,000 people died that year of Ebola. But you didn't know because you're off farming your hoo-ha and you never once felt paranoid about it. Okay, now, what is the difference between that time and now? Well, the
Frontier
difference
doesn't fly from didn't fly from Africa to
okay,
wherever
yes.
I'm living in 18.
That is
whatever.
one difference, but also there's two things going on. One, we are hyper aware of everything and it makes everyone paranoid.
Sure.
That's number one. And number two, we are equipped to handle such things. In 1825, had someone been able to fly over here, there is a high likelihood, because that given conditions, that it would have spread like crazy, just like diseases here did, like the flu of 18 or what is it, 18 or 1918 was it? The one that killed like 2 million people or something.
Like typhoid. Look at the Black Plague. Look at
right. Guess what? If you get the plague today, which you can,
Yeah.
go to the hospital and they totally hook you up. You're good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They can cure you from the plague.
Yeah. It's because we didn't have antibiotics then. I mean, it's
did you call up your general practitioner and say, I'm feeling, I don't know, feel like I have the plague.
Well, it's called, what's it called? It has a new name. Crap. It has a more technical name. Here we go. The plague.
Kardashian syndrome.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow, the first one is a book a guy wrote. Come on now. Okay, bubonic plague. Is a zoonotic disease. This sounds like you could have faked us out, Daryl, with a little game at the end of the show. With that.
Right. Real disease or Star Trek disease?
Let's see. Derived from the Greek. Okay. Causes, symptoms, diagnosis, treatment. All right, treatment. Several classes of antibiotics are now very effective in treating it. You just go in there, you get them, you go home. As far as you knew, you had a bad flu.
Wow.
That's basically it.
So maybe people are getting the plague left and right. We just don't know about it.
That's true. My point is, it's such a matter of perspective these days. It's just because Cooper Anderson is sitting on TV all day acting like it's the worst time to live ever does not mean it is.
All right. Well, let's the three of us, let's go ahead and place some bets. On my flight today, how many people will I see with one of those little surgical mask breathing things over their face?
I'm going to give you, so you're on Frontier. I feel like that bumps up the chances. given the connection.
Right.
I'm going to say, I'll say 3. Daryl, how many do you think?
I say 0.
You think nobody will?
I was thinking 2 was going to be the over-under, so I'm going to say between those two numbers.
All right, Mitsula, you getting this down on some kind of chart? We can start taking bets.
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to go. It'll be less than 0.
Yeah, it'll be less than 0.
3 less than 0. But I'm going to say I'm predicting 1 or 2 people on that flight are going to have surgical masks.
I wish we were more like some of the Asian regions where this is a common thing. If you just have a cold, you just wear a mask and no one thinks twice about it. It's just what you do down there. And when I was in China and Tokyo, or I went from China to Tokyo and then back to China, in both places, there was occasionally you'd see that, and it was just, that guy's got a cold, that guy's a little sniffle, and he's not sure yet. It wasn't because they thought, I have a disease and I'm going to kill everybody. It was just, no, you're not feeling well. Why take the chance to give it to somebody else? It was like a courtesy thing. I wish we did that more here. The problem here is we've had it plugged into our heads because of movies and TV and whatnot that if somebody wears a mask, oh no,
they're infected. Yeah, right.
I hate it.
Patient 0.
It's annoying.
I can't wait to pour my hot soup over the person in front of me when they recline their seat back, though.
I know.
Yeah,
dude, that's how you want to get in the news. That's how you do it right there.
Exactly. Here's my 15 minutes.
Colorado man will be the first topic of Monday's Tuesday's TMS. All right, let's get to the point here, which is you guys have weird food, and I think that bag's almost done, isn't it? Are you getting close? Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Are you hungry? Aren't you hungry?
What's a foodie?
There's only one thing in here that we haven't sampled, right? We've had everything else, and it's this. It's probably the thing that worries me the most.
Oh well, good. You've saved the best for last.
Because it is.
Describe it. What do we got there?
It is
the giant black gooey iPhone.
Oh, see, I didn't get a giant black gooey iPhone.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, you did. You just call it an iPhone 6 Plus.
Yeah, I really did not get a giant black gooey iPhone.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, Scott, did you see Viking Lass yesterday?
No, I'm going to go trying to get out to see her today. She got in late.
Okay.
Like late
right.
last night.
Because she has a food item that we'll have to try on Monday.
Yeah, that's fine. Tuesday.
Or Tuesday, I'm sorry, yeah. So, no, what I have is I wonder if yours just turned black. Oh, if that's the case, I'm so not eating this. Because it's about the size of like a small cell phone.
Yeah.
It's a flat brick.
Yeah.
Wrapped in plastic.
How much? Wait, but what color is yours and what color is Daryl's?
Mine is beige.
And mine is black.
That doesn't sound. None of this sounds good.
I'm not eating it.
It's probably just an optional color thing.
You think?
Like with iPhones.
I
I want to eat something and be too sick to get on a plane today.
Wrapped
Can we
in
eat
plastic.
a Ritter?
You know
Anybody
what?
got a Ritter left?
You know what?
No,
I would default to Daryl eating it because he has no plans other than it gets him out of work if he gets sick. And you getting on a plane, that would suck.
It would really suck.
So don't do that. Eat a thing that you can trust.
I'll eat a Ritter. All right.
Are
there flavors I haven't had yet on this?
Boy, if I was Mr. Roper, I would think I was hearing something really weird on the other side of the door, if you know what I'm saying.
Yet another crazy misunderstanding.
Yeah, some's eating a Ritter.
All right. Yeah, I can do it.
I guess his name wasn't John Ritter in the show, though. And I did that wrong.
So like I ate a Tripper.
I ate a Tripper. A Tripper Sport, right?
Tripper Sport, yes.
All
All right, you going to do it, Daryl?
I'm going to eat this thing.
Brave man.
Or bite it.
Take a picture and put it on Twitter, too, at some point so we can see what this thing looks like.
Let's see. Can I do this before I eat? Oh, now my hands are all sticky.
Oh.
Don't forget scumbag.
Polly.
I'm going to eat a marzipan Ritter, and I know it's going to be just fine.
I had that one, and it was fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite. One of my favorite European candies.
I'm getting a cold.
Aww.
That's why I'm feeling so melancholy. What if it's Ebola, though? I won't even know until it's deep into The Simpsons. Or Symptoms.
Simpsons.
Said The Simpsons. Great. Good job, Scott. Keep on rolling.
No, but boy, gotta love how every TV show is now capitalizing on this. Like CSI Las Vegas had a thing about a similar Ebola scare.
Yeah.
Blacklist had a thing, or not Blacklist. What was it? It was
they're all going to do it if they haven't already. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of a lot of that stuff is whatever. This is cyclical. I saw Outbreak. I saw Contagion. It's like every 10 years we just get all worked up. Remember when the swine flu was going to kill everyone? Yeah, when was that? Like 6 years ago? Like 2009? Everybody was going to die from swine flu.
Holy cow, Daryl. Yeah, that does look similar to what I have, except a completely different color.
Listen, I want this to be clear. This doesn't mean we shouldn't be helping those nations who are in dire need, and that we should not be doing all we can to protect ourselves and protect those around us and research and blah, blah, blah. Like, good on Zuckerberg for throwing $25 million that way, even though that's like me giving $1.50. But whatever. Like, all that stuff is good. Everyone calm down. 5 years from now, we're going to be going, remember that time when everyone told us we were going to die? Remember that?
And E. Kardashinsky reminds me of reminds us of SARS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, SARS.
Flu, avian flu.
I went to the city in China where SARS came from the year it came. And I came home fine. I didn't get SARS, and that was airborne.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, guys. I'm not saying that you can't get these things. I'm saying there is a extreme likelihood you never will.
It's right. It is being blown out of proportion. No argument.
Do you remember the shark attacks that were up in 1999 or 2000, right before 9/11, before that took over the news cycle?
More recent than that, I thought it was like within the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, I have avoided 24-hour news networks the last few years. That would explain why I didn't hear about the latest. But this is what they do. It's a cyclical thing. Shark attacks are up. How do you know? A guy in Miami Beach was bitten today. That must mean they're freaking up because we got nothing else to talk about. Let's have Donald Trump come and give his opinion. F the whole business.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay, all right.
Ugh. Yeah, mad cow disease is another good one. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like these things aren't real. They are real.
We have top men working on it. It's fine.
We're just such a weird...
Hey, Scott, who do we have working on it?
Top men.
Top men.
Oh, sorry. I didn't continue your thing. I apologize. I meant to do that, friend. Oh, sorry.
Perfect. There we go.
All right. So everyone's good? You didn't die, Daryl? You're fine?
Did you
am I
actually
supposed to eat this?
Yeah.
I
thought you were eating
like you were like 20 minutes of unwrapping.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like almost like jam.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because jelly don't shake like that.
I don't like the smell. Okay, here we go. I had a bit off a chunk.
All right.
It's like super, super thick jam.
I thought you were going to say it's like soup.
Is it like molasses?
It's like soup.
No.
There's a molassesy color.
I'm not even sure what it tastes like. Strawberries, maybe?
Really?
That's like a strawberry jam, but super, super thick.
Well,
and black. And strawberry jam's not supposed to be black.
Yeah. Maybe if you mix this with water, it would turn red.
It's definitely not supposed to be black.
Tomatoes were like black. And tomatoes
it's got like a hint of tobacco, maybe.
Strabacco.
Strabacco. To berries. No, yeah, Strabacco's better. Strabacco. Yeah. I like it. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed your
Peanut tobacco jam.
Your peanut. And let's move on now to birthdays. Daryl, do we have any? Oh.
That's the...
dented your trash camera.
Yeah. Okay, birthdays. Ron Taylor.
Who's he?
He's not around anymore. He would have been 62. He died in 2002 of a heart attack at age 49.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes.
Yeah. He was the Klingon chef on Deep Space Nine in the episodes Melora and Playing God.
I do not remember that at all. Do you? Daryl, well, it's fresh in your mind. Brian, you probably remember
they would occasionally eat there. Bashir loved to eat at the Klingon restaurant.
Oh, all right. I don't remember that.
Kardashian dude.
With the Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Because those two are always hanging out. The comedy duo of Bashir and the Kardashian.
That's right. It's Bashir and the Kardashian. Oh, what hijinks will they get up to today?
They always had stupid stories together. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good job, Daryl. Back to your question here. We did the little play. You've heard the dialogue. Do you think it's court-martial, the deadly years?
Do you remember what we did?
Yeah. Do you remember this? It was like an hour ago. Obsession and the Paradise Syndrome.
Paradise Syndrome. Oh, that's the Indian one. No, it wasn't that. I'm going to say the Deadly Years.
You're going to say the Deadly Years because what's your thinking? What do you think there? You just know?
Well, now I don't even remember what
suspect?
you guys acted out at this point, but I wrote down the deadly years, so that must be the right answer.
That must be the answer. Well, let's find out. Is it the right answer?
Congratulations.
Oh, it is. Look at that.
You're a winner.
Nicely done. The Deadly Years cruise goes to a colony, or the crew goes to a colony of scientists and see that they are rapidly aging. This starts to happen on the Enterprise crew, or to the crew as well. I remember this one, and it was real bad makeup is my memory. Just bad makeup.
They didn't do too bad at making them age, but they didn't make them fat. That's what they always do wrong. They need to make them very, very fat.
They just look like normal Kirk with an old face. Like it was just straight up
really?
Kirk. And now we have an actual Kirk with an old face. Like actual Shatner is old. He looks nothing like what they tried to make him look like in there.
Yeah. When they do that kind of stuff, they can't foresee how
this
your
is
ears and nose are going to grow like crazy. And
Right. I saw a Tumblr post about, because you know how everybody wore makeup and tried to look older in Back to the Future, like Marty's mom and everything.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So now they've got photos of all of those people at the age they would have been.
Leah Thompson at it right.
And she doesn't look anything like it. She looks amazing actually right now. She looks great.
But Biff looks exactly the same.
Yeah, Biff looks the same.
Him perfectly.
It does look like Biff. Totally Biff. The only thing missing was like a tracksuit. That's
it's
it.
accurate because Lorraine wouldn't take care of herself in that future.
That's true. And she looked better in the better Marty future when he came in and the house was bigger and his dad was a successful author and all that. And his sister wasn't a weirdo. Like all that. And he had a truck parked in the garage.
In this timeline, you bought a truck. Wow.
Yeah, a black Toyota. Woo! I always remember wanting that truck. Anyway, there's your thing. We played our little game. Daryl's the Trek Nerd on Twitter. He's also This Week in Trek at thisweekintrek.com and the Grumpy Cast. And he will now play a game with us. And I don't know what it is. So what is it?
It is Star Trek fruit or actual fruit.
Okay. Here's your theme for Star Trek fruit or actual fruit.
Captain to Engineering Department.
All right, go.
Kaffirian apples.
Kaffirian
apples.
Kaffirian.
Is that with a K or a C?
A K.
Kaffirian with a K.
That was a very audible swallow of whatever you were drinking.
It was a little bit of Strabacco. Strabacco chaser is what he just had.
That sounds like a Star Trek thing, too. I'm going to say that sounds like it might be real to me. And there are a lot of weird named apples, is what I'm getting at.
I like them apples.
Yeah. What do you think?
If I were on, if I were the only one choosing, I probably would go Star Trek. But I will side with you and say real.
You sure? Now I'm nervous. Now I don't know if I'm right. All right, let's find out if
stick with real.
Can I carry a team or not? Is it real?
Well, it's bad to be nervous about Ebola, but it's good to be nervous about Kaffirian apples because these were created by Gary Mitchell on TOS's Where No Man Has
Damn
Gone
it!
Before.
Oh, nice explanation, but Brian was right. Brian's always right. Go with Brian. That's what I say.
No.
Go with Brian.
Television highlights of the news of yesteryear.
Don't forget Scumbag.
Whoop, that wasn't supposed to play. The news is brought to you by...
It's brought to you by Whole Lot of Love, Live and Love and Made, Ramble On. What do all these things have in common? They were all on Led Zeppelin 2 45 years ago, released in October 1969. And last night on Coverville, you heard me play a cover of each and every track from that album.
Whoa.
Go back and listen. It's Coverville, coverville.com.
Wow. It's almost as if that was written, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. No, that was purely off the cuff.
I want people to know that. It literally says... under the little sponsor thing, Coverville, where last night, ... And Brian ran with it, man.
That's right.
I'm
a professional. Sabotage.
Sabotage. Florida man, age 19. I guess he's a man. He's a man now.
Sure.
Has been arrested for a lewd act with a stuffed animal inside of a lewd Walmart.
Well, there you go. So if he wasn't a man by being 19, he's a man now.
He's a man now.
He's had his way with a
stuffed
a
whatever.
Elmo.
The repulsive episode occurred around 3 p.m. That's right in the middle of the day. Jeez. At a Walmart in Brooksville, a city 50 miles north of Tampa. According to a police report, Sean Johnson, no relation to my niece, Sean, who also spells her name differently, age 19, selected a brown, tan, and red stuffed horse. Are there 3 of them? It just has that many colors, I guess.
It's just a 3-colored horse.
All right. From the clearance shelf in the garden department.
That's a stuffed horse of a different color.
That's right, see? Why is it in the garden department? That's funny. Maybe
Well,
did you
where
go
they
through
throw
there
their
and
clearance
grab something in toys and leave it in the garden department?
There was a there was a toy helicarrier on clearance in the garden department. We had to pick something up. I think it was like it was mulch for the backyard, and for whatever reason, Tina likes getting it at Walmart because it's much cheaper there.
Yeah.
Everything else we buy at Target. But as we were going through the garden department to get that, I looked over, and in the clearance they had these racks of rolling carts, and they had a plastic Avengers helicarrier, and I wish I would have bought it.
Should have, dude. Was it on discount then?
Yes, it was like $20 or $30. It's normally $80.
Should have gotten it.
And I should have picked it up when I saw it.
Because you love those things.
I do. I love those little Marvel doohickeys.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
anyway,
he grabbed this
so
three-headed horse. Sorry, three-colored horse.
I wouldn't have done this to it.
Yeah, no. This wouldn't have been, a different story altogether. Then he went to the comforter aisle in the houseware section and proceeded, here's the quote. This is an actual quote. I'm going to do it in the voice of the police officer reporting.
This is great.
Quote, proceeded to pull out his genitals and proceeded to hump the stuffed horse utilizing short, fast movements, unquote. That's what they said in the report.
Short, fast movements.
Yeah, the lewd act was captured by surveillance cameras. Lewd act would be a great band name. That'd be a pretty good name. Nice and edgy.
Opening for
lewd act. Opening for bare naked ladies.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yep. And that would be the way the band would be. They would be kind of not
come out
lewd.
do short, fast movements.
Yeah. Quote. Here's a quote from the from the offender, from Sean Johnson, age 19. Quote, I did unmentionables to a stuffed animal, noting that I committed a horrible act. And then he added, I need to think before what I do. I'm extremely sorry.
And I take comfort in that.
I take comfort in that. You know that three-colored horse down there in the garden section? I took comfort in that.
Short, fast comfort.
All right. Well, there's your gross story. Here's another one. Ebola. Speaking of Ebola, electronic Bola.
Sure. It's so much faster than just regular Bola.
Right. It's back in the day. It was so slow. Ebola.com owner wants $150,000 for rights to its domain name, to his domain name. He had purchased it, and now he wants $150,000 for it, and he wants you to pay that. Las Vegas-based entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll run into him.
Cyber squatter.
Yeah, he'll be flicking cards at you that say "Buy my domain for $150,000."
That's right. Yes. Would you like Ebola.com?
He paid $13,500 for the rights to Ebola.com back in 2008. That's still a lot of money to pay for a domain.
It is, yeah.
Now he hopes to make a killing off the disease's domain and figures his asking price is more than reasonable. Hurry up while the striking is hot. I guess he benefits from all this hysteria. According to our site meter, we're already doing 5,000 page views per day just by people typing Ebola.com to come and see what's there. Well, let's go see. Ebola. Now, Len Peralta would think you could actually get the disease by doing this, but here we go. He's part of the freak out. Let's see. New York Giants briefs players on Ebola trip before Dallas. So these are just Ebola news stories.
So right now he's got like an automatic news thing going up there that's just putting up news.
Yeah. What's funny is,
I gotta say, at least he's got like a donate for Doctors Without Borders ad on there. I mean, that's
does that work? Let's find out. It still stays on Ebola.com though.
No, it takes. Oh.
Yeah,
that's weird because the page turned to Doctors Without Borders, but you're right, it is still on Ebola.com.
It's still, yeah, I don't think I trust this because there's a secure thing. This is not right. Something's funky.
Something's, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is.
Something's up with this Las Vegas entrepreneur.
Yeah. Weird. Well, their fraud is legal, so it's not a problem. Let's see here. According to he said that Schultz is speaking from experience. He and his partner Chris Hood. He sounds shifty. Own Blue String Ventures, an internet real estate company that buys and sells generic domain names for profit. Besides Ebola.com, the duo hopes to sell Fukushima.com, birdflu.com, and potassium iodide.
I think that's an I. I think it's potassium iodide.
Oh, what is that? Is that a thing I should know about?
I have no idea.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
Let's see what that is. Let's see here. Okay, I'm looking up the domain. Oh, it's another holder page.
Oh, I thought you'd look up to see what potassium iodide
Oh, it is some. I'm going to do that too. It's some kind of facts about. Here we go. Potassium iodide is an inorganic compound with the chemical formula Ki. Not to be confused with KY. That one's fine. This white salt is the most commercially significant iodide compound. Comprises 37,000 tons produced in 1985. Oh, it's only produced once and can cause all kinds of cancers and can show up in weird places. That's what this is.
You can buy it on Amazon.
Can you really?
Yep. You can get a bottle of potassium iodide tablets or a thing of them for $6.99 for 14 tablets.
Oh, it's actually used in salt. Wait, what's the problem with it? Thyroid
I don't think there's any problem with it.
It protects your thyroid during. Oh, well, why is everyone freaking out about it on that website then? That's stupid. Oh, whatever. This guy's I think there's a real shysterism going on here. Anyway, if you got 150K and you feel like wasting it on something dumb, there's your opportunity. Squarespace.com does not want you to waste money, and they do not want you to make something dumb. You could have Ebola.com hosted there, I suppose, but why don't you go host something cool? Host something that you want to be proud of. Go to squarespace.com right now and open up a trial. Try it out. Say, well, let's see. What do these tools do for me? How's this going to look on a phone? I want this to look great on my new Android Note 4 or my freaking iPhone 6 Plus or whatever phablet you purchased. Check it out, because those lots of their templates are very good that way, and they're awesome, and they make it look good on desktop, mobile, tablets, whatever.
They might even look good on brand new tablets if there are some brand new tablets coming down the line.
Today is a big day, right?
That's right. Yes.
I don't know what to think about that. I don't know. I have no idea what to predict. I don't know what they're doing. I know they're not doing the 12-inch because rumors are they got pushed back because they're having a hard time fulfilling 6 Plus orders right now.
Well, the rumors are that it's going to be iPad minis with the Touch ID stuff and.
It better be more than that, because if it's all that, my mini will last me a whole nother year. Not a problem. Because if that's all it is, I don't care that much about it. If it's more than that, we'll see. I guess we'll see. Anyway, squarespace.com is awesome. Get that free trial. If you like it and stick around, use the code MORNING at checkout. That'll get you 10% off your account. That's our friends at squarespace.com and the offer code MORNING. All right, here's this.
Chairman J. Parnell Thomas of New Jersey opens an inquiry into possible communist penetration of the Hollywood film industry.
It is Celebrity Poop, and it is brought to you by...
Too many grapes.
Oh, yeah, I had too many grapes last night.
I thought you might...
I ate a ton of them. I don't know what my problem was. I don't know, maybe I was craving fruit and, I don't know if there's citrus in those or not, but maybe it's for this cold. I don't know. My cold is... I can feel it right now, dude. It's all back in my throat there.
Aww.
Keep hitting that cough switch.
That's all right. Get it out now. You won't have it for BlizzCon.
That's a good point. Please be over before then. I do not want to fly with a head cold. Because Kim's was so bad yesterday. I mean, half her head, you couldn't even feel... She couldn't hear a thing out of her ear. It was so bad. She went into the doctor and was worried about a sinus infection. They're like, no, you're good. It's just a bad cold. You had a bad cold. Let's see. U2 has apologized, finally, for Achtung Baby. No. Something else.
They should apologize for Pop.
Yeah, Pop should be apologized for. And those dumb glasses Bono wore the whole time. Those should be apologized for. U2 apologizes for the Free Songs of Innocence album. During a Facebook chat on Tuesday, the 4 members of U2 addressed the free album they released last month for all iTunes users. Songs of Independence was given to all members, 500 million people, after the big iPhone 6 announcement on September 9th. Many Apple users got angry where they were force-fed this album because it took up memory on their phone and their computers, and they didn't ask for it.
It didn't. It was like you got the little cloud icon, and you could download it to your phone if you wanted to. If you had
auto-download syncy stuff.
That's right. If you have auto-download turned on, then
then you were screwed.
But that's on you. You turned that on.
Yeah, that is not there by default. So
right.
Many Apple users got angry. One fan asked, "Could you please never release an album on iTunes that automatically downloads to people's playlists ever again? It's really rude," he says. Oops, U2 frontman Bono responded, "I'm sorry about that." He's Irish, right? This beautiful idea, we kind of got carried away with it.
Oh, he's much more, oops, I'm sorry about that. This beautiful idea, we kind of got carried away with it.
Now they're going to take you. Right.
He's in concert.
I've got a very special set of skills.
I'm sorry about that.
All right.
Charles Manson stole this album. We're giving it back.
Giving it back to the people. Here's what he says. He went on to say, artists are prone to that kind of thing. Drop of megalomania, touch of generosity, dash of self-promotion, and deep fear. These songs are what we've heard about. There's a lot of noise out there. I guess we got a little noisy ourselves. There you go.
It's a bummer because it was a huge generous move to give out an entire album, and to basically say
not really that generous. I mean,
well, it's U2. I mean,
they're billionaires. They don't. This is nothing for them, and
this
also
is why they're billionaires. Actually, it's actually more speaks more towards the label because bands usually make more of their money from touring and promotions and stuff like that, whereas the labels make money from albums.
That's a good point.
So
it is a sacrifice, but Apple paid a bunch of money for this.
They totally did. Yeah.
So I think everyone came out fine. In other words, I don't think anyone was just, it'd be really nice, fellas. Hey, Edge, come here. Edge, come here. Get a hat on and come here for a minute. We got to talk to you. We're going to give away this whole album for free. I don't think they did that. I think it was more like Apple came to them and said, listen, Bono, we have this idea. And I also have about $50 million I'm ready to hand you right now if you'll just do this. And he said, well, that sounds great. I'd be happy to do it.
Couldn't they have given us just a bunch of free black and red iPods, old 60 gigabyte free black and red iPods?
That would have been great. Remember the product red ones? Those are cool.
Yeah, they really are cool.
SNL's trying to fix their ratings by adding Jim Carrey, Chris Rock, and more for season 40. They're trying to beef things up with bigger guests because their cast kind of blows. Saturday Night Live is well into the throes of the new season. New hosts have already appeared on brand new episodes, and this week NBC announced that 2 prolific comedians will be popping up in the coming weeks: Chris Rock and Jim Carrey. Jim Jiminy, Jim Carrey. They'll be making rare appearances on the series very soon. Neither of these two do it very often. Carrey is set to pop up on the show. He hasn't done it since. It's been forever for him.
Yeah.
96 and then again in 2011. Rock appearance is even a bigger deal. He hosted it back in 96 and then has never done it again. So there you go.
It's almost like they're doing a season of bringing people back who used to be on the show. Like Chris Rock was a cast member, Sarah Silverman was a cast member, Bill Hader.
Yeah. Like Jim Carrey was almost one.
He? And then he went to
he tried out.
Color, right?
Well, they turned him down. He tried out and they turned him down, and then
really
did that other Living Color deal. Yeah, whoops. They've had, who they need to have back on, if you're asking my opinion. Let's get a little John Lovitz or a freaking Norm Macdonald on there or something like that.
Yeah,
Let's do deep back. Let's
or
go way back.
Oh, who's the guy who's on Weeds? Big tall guy did Subliminal Man.
No, Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon.
He'd be all right.
Bring him back. Bring Jason Sudeikis could host, and that would be, I'd be all over it.
Did they do any kind of tribute for Jan Hooks? Do you know?
They did. Yeah, they played. It was actually really sweet. They played one of the pieces, like the Schiller Vision pieces that she did with Phil Hartman, and it was one where the two of them danced to an old movie soundtrack.
Oh, I love that one.
Lip sync the words, and it's really, really sweet. And it was really touching, and it made me think, wow, why didn't they do something for oh God, my brain is fried today.
They did the same.
Don Pardo.
Don Pardo.
They didn't do anything for Don Pardo.
That's weird that they didn't do anything for him. I mean, I don't watch it, but I just assume they would. They did that same dance Jan Hooks thing with that same clip when Phil Hartman died.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see why. It's a good clip for remembrance of them. I was trying to think. It's like, well, they could have done like the Sweeney Sisters thing, or wasn't she part of the whole bye-bye thing with David Spade, or was that somebody else?
Oh, I don't remember.
The Airplane. He'd be another good guest to bring back.
Yeah, bring back David Spade. He's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing Joe Dirt 2. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah,
really?
it's being commissioned by Crackle.
What? Wait. Crackle the candy
app.
bar?
Yeah, no, Crackle the app.
Oh, the app. Okay.
Yeah, like the Sony app or whatever it is.
Yes.
They're going to make a Joe Dirt 2 with that. It's like the sequel no one asked for. It's really weird.
It's basically, well, we want to do a movie. What can we afford? Like they looked at the list and they said, all right, on this list we can go to about here and lower.
Yeah.
And Joe Dirt was the highest thing on the list that they could do.
It is my favorite name. I love the name. Joe Dirt is a great name.
Joe Dirt,
yeah,
sure.
It's just a great name for anything. But yeah, I don't know if we need a sequel.
I never saw the first one, so I can't speak to its
quality or authenticity.
Its quality, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, Tweaked Audio is authentic and quality. That's the name. tweakedaudio.com. 5 great styles, 7 great colors, earbuds you can be proud of. I was listening to that music yesterday when I was watching Mendoza fly away with all his goose buddies, and those were the earbuds I was listening to, and it just made it more cinematic. I know. Designed to sound great with both your music and talk. I want to save you some money, folks. 33% off if you use the code STREAM at checkout at tweakedaudio.com. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I think Wendy will be here. I haven't had very good communication with her today.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here she is. She just wrote back and said, "Sounds good." Smiley face. That must mean.
Oh, okay. I
Plus
was gonna say,
yeah.
if we didn't get Wendy, we could always do an impromptu Ask TMS.
True. We always have that as a backup.
Yep.
And also, I can tease her about the van they bought because she swore she'd never buy a minivan in her entire life, and she had to get a van. So we'll talk about that. Before all that, though, music. Brian, what do you got?
All right, let's play a song. This one goes out to a very special member of the Tadpool.
All right.
A woman who's having a birthday tomorrow. Hello, Simmer and Boyle. The last 2 years, you've canceled the show on my birthday, October 17th. Intentional? A conspiracy? Possibly. So, if you could, I'd like you to play Hatful of Sunshine by Professor Elemental on Thursday's show. I'd be much obliged. Your local servant, TMS's original Cajun fan, B4 Tank Girl.
Oh.
She then adds, Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. I like big butts and I cannot lie. I came here to kick ass and drink milk, and I just finished my milk. Tries to think of more crazy things to make Brian say out loud. Bye-bye.
All right.
Nice. All right, Trisha. Happy to play this for you. Actually, I've been listening to this whole album all morning long. It's Professor Elemental's The Giddy Limit. Came out this year. It's not a cover, but if you have not experienced the joy that is chap hop, the style of music that Professor Elemental does, as well as Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer. By the way, those two, April Ness let me know that those two are in a feud.
Oh, are they?
A chap hop rapper feud. It's
Ooh,
great.
that's awesome. I want to see them battle it out on stage.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, this is Hatful of Sunshine, the Your Fabulous remix by Professor Elemental.
Sunshine sipper, listening to buzzy bees. Why are you so bloody busy? Get from out your honey tree, unbutton your pantaloons, hitch up your dungarees, get your legs a lovely face, I bet you've got lovely knees. And now the mysteries of life, the keys to all your worries is to keep it simplified. Don't stuff the place that you reside with too much stuff, all buried under net, have too much love. It's a world of wonder, don't let them keep you undermined. Every day trip for joy, written bold, underlined. We the undivided, undecided, and the undefined demand a sense of wonder and the sense to wonder why. Keep your work days to a minimum. Make a life as sweet as cinnamon. This is a new hat. Would you like to wear it? What's the point of sunshine unless you share it? The best ones I've known I can barely remember. Weave in passions, reimagine, breathe in sea air, believe in magic. This is me, you, an amazing spread, and a slice of cake as big as a baby's head. A cartoon hummingbird, edible trees, a packet of crackers, legendary cheese, a lazy afternoon, a leisure your swimming hat, let's head for the sea. To a minimum. Make a life as sweet as cinnamon. This is a new hat. Would you like to wear it? What's the point of sunshine unless you share it?
Models were among the very first to discover how Kreml shampoo brings out all the natural sparkling luster of each tiny strand of hair. How it keeps hair simply radiant for days.
Yes, and those lovely Powers models told me that no other shampoo gives their hair more natural, glossy luster. It never dries the hair or makes it brittle.
Well, that's because Kreml shampoo has such a beneficial oil base. It actually helps hair, and it keeps the hair from becoming dry.
It's the back door for us.
The Morning Stream, live from the only time zone that matters.
And we're back. We're back. I like Chap Hop.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
But it strikes me as fertile ground for that weird internet drama fight. Like you're saying that there's a battle going on right now.
Well, it's I think it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek feud because you've got the East Coast rappers versus West Coast rappers.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek feud kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm into that.
Yeah, it's I think pretty sure it's just for fun.
It's not like it's not like Richard Cheese like telling you to change his Wikipedia page or whatever.
No.
Okay.
And by the way, the full story of that, like the entire story of the Richard Cheese at Coverville 500, was a big part of an upcoming episode of Hammond Chamberlain's podcast.
Oh, good. So people can get the real skinny on that thing?
You can get the real skinny. I mean, I go into depth on all the stuff that happened that whole day with him.
Wow.
And
because up till now there's been some mystery on this thing.
Yeah, and you can find out some stuff by going to Wikipedia, looking for Richard Cheese's page, and then viewing the history of that page around August 15th, 2008.
Wow.
And you can look back at those articles, and then you'll be able to see some stuff.
That's exciting stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, check it out. Hammond Chamberlain's podcast. That's where you want to be. All right, let's get Wendy on this here call right here. Let's see here. Hopefully she's still there. Running a tad late. Should be. Can't imagine she won't be. She'll answer with a hello. We'll answer with a, what the hell are you doing with a minivan? And,
what?
Yeah, I'll tell you all about that. Let's see. Here we go. And it's ringing. Ringing away, everybody. Ring ding a ling ding. You know, she's in Sweden, so everything takes a little longer. You know, they're slow.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to wait for the internet to travel over there. Like it's making its way. Like, oh, quick turn at New York City.
Well, it's like a series of tubes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The internet is. I learned that from Senator Stevens. Zeus rest his soul. He's not here
it's a series. It's not like a truck. It's a series of tubes.
It's like a truck you just dump something on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a series of tubes. Well, that's weird. She just emailed me and said I'm here, and I can't get her to pick up though.
Oh.
Not ringing there. All right, we'll try it again. Be just my luck that this isn't going to work. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the audio version.
Oh, okay.
That way, we don't just have all this dead air. Okay. All right, what's going on? She didn't run it or something? She has, I got to remember. She has, what do you call it? Freaking, I can't think straight. She has the iMessage, but I don't have her new number, but I don't need that, do I? Can't I just do it via her email for iMessage? Can't you add somebody like that?
Yes. Well, only if they're using iMessage. I mean, she's on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you could totally do that.
I don't know why I haven't done that. That'd be a lot easier.
If it's blue, then you're using iMessage. If it's green, then you're using text.
How was my Bono impression Amish, according to Daryl? It wasn't Amish.
3 p.m. time.
Listen here, you've got to get up and milk the cow. That's not what they do, is it?
No.
That's a bunch of that's malarkey.
Crazy pants is what that is.
All right, Wendy, what are we doing here? Come on. Wow. I don't know what's going on. It's not working. And I don't have another way to chat with her because I don't have a freaking iMessage thing. Actually, let's see here. Don't mind us, folks. Just chill out for a second. Wendy Johnson. Okay, that's just great. Cancel. All right.
Bop.
Well, here's what we'll do.
All right. You want to do some Ask TMS while we try and get a hold of her?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Oh,
there she is. Weird. That rang and rang, and then there you are now, finally. That's weird.
All you have to do is threaten her with other content, and she's on like a...
She's in. How you doing?
Sorry, my phone, there's something wrong with my phone.
Yeah, it's you're getting texts
dinging,
and
too.
Dinging
and the fries are done too.
And you really
It's messages in Swedish, and I don't know what they're saying. Anyway, so I'm on the computer. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. That's why you sound different. That's fine.
My bad.
Not to worry.
Don't forget to restart the recording if you haven't already.
I did already. I'm good.
Okay.
So, Wendy, I got the first question before we go anywhere else. Why did you get a minivan? This seems like the thing I would never, ever imagine. My sister, who fought against that domestication van thing motif for 12 years. What happened?
Well, what I wanted was a Volvo XC90, and the one I could reasonably afford and still do a little traveling while I'm here. Apparently it's a notoriously bad year for Volvos, and you could spend a ton to fix them, and that's the last thing I need, right? So everything else in our price range was strange, or I don't know. And I have to fit 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
So you're pretty limited, and in the end, it was my only option. It was so depressing.
I'll bet, because all right, just give some people some perspective. My entire life that I can think back on, since Wendy has been married and had children, she has gone for Subaru wagons and super hip mom cars. Definitely not the typical, minivan or Suburban or any of that crap. Avoided it like the plague. Yeah. She's avoided it like the plague, which has been an impressive feat, I think, with 4 kids and all.
Yeah, it's a pain, a little bit.
Yeah. So now you've caved and you've joined the weird side of the world. And
well, and you know why everyone wants a minivan? There are moms, I promise, listening to this thinking, well, I don't understand because they're so convenient. And what it is they have a button, and the button opens doors, and no fingers get slammed, and the kids can walk in themselves. There are benefits to having a minivan for kids.
Yeah.
I hear you, ladies. I hear you, but I still didn't want one.
Yeah.
And the irony is, of course, I buy one here.
Yeah, that's the great irony is that in Utah, land of minivans, you never bought one.
Oh yeah, heck no.
No,
and ours now there are no such buttons that open doors.
It's
not a minivan.
It's like an old fashioned. What's the brand? I can't tell by looking at it.
a Chrysler.
Oh, really?
Dad turned over in his grave when I bought a Chrysler.
No doubt. He hated those things. He was not a...
Chryslers in Europe are a different thing. You know how it's like whatever the name and the actual company that makes it, and I'm sure they don't even allow crappy cars to be sold here. I know everyone from Sweden's like, that's not true, but really they're so particular about things that I can't imagine like a real crappy one.
Well, like in London or in Britain and probably other parts of Europe, but especially there, like Ford is the bomb. Like everybody loves a Ford over there.
Yeah.
And
Ford bought Volvo and about 10, 15 years ago, and I mean they have 25% of every car on the road here is a Volvo, and they people love them. They are, and I love them, and I want one, but
yeah, they're the new ones are expensive, like super expensive. They have some. They no longer look like tanks though. They're starting to look kind of nice. So yeah, maybe one day. Yeah, they used to look like a tank, like every wagon,
like a big boxy square. Yeah,
yeah. Like
totally.
then they look like they could take a war. Like they were strong.
And they can, yes, and they are so safe. So Adam would be a dead man if it weren't for Volvo. He you know how when you see a deer on the road, you're supposed to aim for it instead of swerve.
Yeah.
Well, he swerved because he couldn't bring himself to aim for it.
Yeah.
And his Volvo rolled like 3 times, and he's just hanging upside down in his Volvo, perfectly safe. His seatbelt holding him in, listening to the radio was still on.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, I probably should be dead.
Yeah.
So Volvos are, they're pretty amazing. But
I have never heard that you're supposed to aim for the deer.
You haven't? Right.
No, I've heard turn into the skid. Never heard aim for the deer.
Aim for the animal. The only animal you don't aim for is a moose because they're so heavy. They will come window and suffocate you.
Yeah, you'll land. A big, smelly, hairy moose will land on your face, and you'll just die.
Watch this.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what a deer does, because I drive past them every day here. Is the last minute will get out of the way. It's not like you speed up and aim for the deer.
It's like you see one way over cresting on the hill. Oh, I bet I can get to
I
it.
can get him. It's the only way to be safe. All right. Well, that's all good and well. I got a quick question before we get to our main topic, and that is the Ebola freak out prominent there at all? Does anyone care over there about the Ebola thing that's going on?
I probably, but I don't understand Swedish, so I don't know.
Oh,
but
okay.
no normal people are talking about it that I've talked to. They don't. It's not really.
Do they have 24-hour news networks in Sweden? I'm just curious.
They might. I don't know. I don't have a TV, so I don't know.
Just wonder if they have like equivalents to all that, or they just get BBC
CNN
One or
Bork.
something, or CNN Bork edition.
Yeah, exactly. No,
oh, if we weren't all white, that would be offensive somehow. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, let's get to the meat of the subject, which is it's something I've kind of avoided on other shows and things because it deals directly in some of the things that I cover and do. But to give you just a quick catch up on it, because you're not really here to discuss the actual minutia of Gamergate, because who cares? The thing I want to get to is what happens online when people feel strongly about one thing or another and all of that and the aftermath of that. But basically, and I've said this on my other game show the other day, but I basically have 3 opinions about this whole mess. And to give kind of a short version of it, it originally started as a group of people who were upset about ethics in gaming journalism. But apply this to any journalism, I guess, because that's pretty much, a thing you would always have about the press. Like, oh, are they in the back pocket of the corporations? Are people paying them off? Are they being paid to give good reviews to games in specific, to this case, or getting other favors for that sort of thing? And so opinion number 1, that's a conversation people could have. That's a thing you could talk about. There are arguments to be made on both sides of that and ways of creating transparency and improving, or hopefully companies improving how transparent they are about their practices when it comes to journalistic standards and things like that. That seems like a reasonable thing to talk about. The problem is, much of what has come out of it and from people claiming to be part of that movement have been death threats and rape threats and terrible, terrible things being said online, usually with anonymity, toward specifically and more often, not always, but more often, female video game developers, female reviewers, people working in that industry.
Right.
Yeah, this most recent one is just horrifying.
Horrible.
String of tweets.
And now there's a big thing in Utah as of yesterday where USU, University of... What is USU? Utah State. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking Utah Southern. I'm thinking of the Cedar City one, but no, it's Utah State There was a prominent, I don't know if you call her an activist, but she's really into the whole like equality in gaming. It's very specific to the industry. She was invited to give a speech there, and got a very specific online threat that somebody said if she showed up there, again claiming to be part of this movement, this Gamergate movement, was going to show up with a gun and kill as many people as he could kill, and the blood would be on her hands. Basically, she appealed to the school saying, "Hey, this, what are we going to do about this?" And they basically said their hands were tied. The way Utah concealed permits work, anybody can go anywhere they want with a gun, and there's, we're not going to increase security. If they have an actual permit, they're allowed to bring a gun on campus. Which I don't know the ins and outs of that or the very specifics of that. That feels like an oversimplification of it. But bottom line is she canceled because she's afraid for her life, and so are other people. Anyway, this is just one of many very messy things. So it got me to thinking, what could we do with Wendy on the show that was specific to this? And to me, it all boils down to this thing that we've touched on before but never gotten real specific about, and that is anonymity, giving people this weird free reign to say things they would likely never say to anybody in their face. And my question is more about not so much why do they do it, because I think part of the reason they do it is because they can't be caught and they, can get away with it, and there's a thrill about it, and there's maybe a certain age or maturity level that goes into who's doing it. I don't know, but that's the problem. You can't tell online if that's a 13-year-old or a 50-year-old talking to you.
Right.
So there's no way to really iron that out the way you could in real life. If you saw a 12-year-old do something dumb, you don't, well, he's 12. But if you saw a 50-year-old do something dumb, you're like, not cool, dude. You should be past that. Yeah. But you can't do that online. You don't know who you're talking to. So there's that part of it, but also this idea, or does it go too far to say that this somehow means that we all have this terrible streakiness and all we need is a little anonymity and we're all monsters? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of people. That's what a lot of people are talking about right now. In fact, there's kind of a general conversation happening that everything online is terrible, when clearly it's a minority of people saying these terrible things, but it's so awful that, of course, it rises to the top and everybody talks about it and thinks it's the worst thing ever. So anyway, that's the short of it. It's way more nuanced and there's way more stuff going on in this specific thing, but I want to get to the core of it, which is, why do people behave this way, and what do people who don't behave this way, what can they do, or should they do, or can they do anything given the medium that supports anonymity like this?
Right. So first of all, both of you tell me why you see anonymity as a benefit.
I don't.
No, I don't, because it takes away accountability.
Yeah, I don't see it as a benefit at all. I don't do anything online that isn't me. Like it's always my name. My Twitter account is my freaking name. Mm-hmm. I don't put fake pictures of myself anywhere.
You don't have any sock puppet accounts or any. Yeah.
The problem is it's not. I don't want to live in a society that mandates this. So this is where. Okay, so let me actually answer your question now that I'm thinking about it. I am for my choice to do this, to be truthful about who I am online.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated that I got to choose to do that. And I don't want a system or a regulation or a bunch of stuff in place that makes everybody do this. I guess I don't. I mean, in some ways I can think there's some benefits to that, but I think for the most part, I really appreciate that I chose to not be Mr. Anonymous online. So I don't see any value in it other than I like the value of being able to choose that. But I don't think there's any value in not being who you are, especially if you're going to, throw a bunch of mud around and then have no accountability for it. I mean, people make threats all the time, and 90 out of 99 chances or threats are going to go they're not going to do anything. It's all bullcrap. It's just all smoke and mirrors. But it doesn't matter if you're the person getting threatened. If you're, some lady who just happens to work at a video game company or something, and somebody's threatening you with rape and death and knows your address and says so online and prints and posts it there. I mean, that's terrifying, scary, and awful, and never okay. Never is there a cause. I don't care what the cause is, and this is where I get all mad about this. I don't care how important your cause is. That stuff's never okay. Never is it okay. And they have no leadership. This is another thing. That group has zero leadership, so you're never getting a straight story. You got people going, hey, I'm one of these people that really believes in the core values of this movement, but I don't agree with these guys that are threatening people. Well, okay, great, but where's your leadership? There is no like central message. There, everybody speaks for everybody. Then that way, nobody speaks for anybody. Like it's a big, huge mess. But to answer your question, I don't see any value in hiding who I am online.
So here's another question. You're saying there's no value in being anonymous when the anonymous person's behavior is horrifying, but is there value for those who need to say something but are themselves scared or threatened, or are themselves
Well, in that case, yes. Like if you're a person who wants to remain anonymous online because you don't like that level of exposure, then yeah, there is value in that, obviously. Yeah. I just mean from the perspective of, for me, there's no value in it. But I think I'm a special case, and I think Brian's a special case, and we a lot of what we do is we live online. You know?
Very transparent.
Yeah, and that's part of our business. It's part of our life. Yeah.
I would say some of that is generational for the two of you. You had your identity established before you became an online person.
Mm.
And I think the younger you are, the less likely that is to have happened. You have developed, selfies was the way you figured out who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And kind of a rocky path to really maturing into, I know who I am and what I stand for and what I think, as it's sort of, it's not the best foundation. And not to say everyone's in that case, but I could see that being a generational thing there. And also your sort of public faces, and both of you, this is why you're so likable, is both of you are publicly who you are privately.
Mm-hmm.
You maybe aren't sharing, well, Scott's sharing everything.
Yeah, I share a lot of stuff, man.
But for the most part, you're pretty consistent with, your public and your private persona are one and the same. So it's very easy to feel pretty confident in your position because A, you had time to develop your sense of identity, and B, you have figured out how to keep that consistent to your benefit. And that in essence is an amazing quality generally. Take any great leader, and if they have that quality, they are rare and special, because I think it's so much easier to have your public persona be one thing.
Yeah.
Because you craft it and you whatever. So how I'm thinking about this applying to individuals. First of all, statistically, how many are the threateners, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many voices are threatening rape and destruction and murder? What is that number?
We don't know. That's the problem.
It's a small number of very loud ones.
Yeah.
Very...
Well, we're sure we assume it's a small number. I think it's a small number, but this is part of the problem. Is you don't really know who it is, or if one guy's running 50 accounts with 50 different names, or 50 different people are all using one account, or 5 of them are doing 10 each. Like that's the problem, is there is zero way to not only account for who they are, but if they are, where they are, how many there are. Like all of it's a mystery.
That's actually the power, right? That's why they have so much power, is you can't, like you just described, who is their leader? Like that, it's sort of like, who is Al-Qaeda? I mean, we had such a shift in our mentality of who the enemy became.
Yeah.
When suddenly it was leaderless or it was countryless, and that it was a whole new shift. I think there's that element online, and I think at least what self-policing occurs online is kind of amazing. If we're really looking at the bigger picture, take Frog Pants, for example.
Sure.
You guys weed out trolls. You don't do it personally. You're not, maybe you do a little bit, but I would say, the tadpole does it. Or
it's self-policing. Yeah,
self-policing,
for sure.
right. Which to me is the power of any community.
Mm-hmm.
And an online community is no different. The challenge is when the threat is faceless, nameless, locationless. You don't know, because they have access to one computer. They can seem like an enormous group or a powerful group or whatever. What role then does a self-policing? Because most people are good. Most people, and we'll get to the individual who then says some crazy stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. But for the most part, I think there's some self-policing that's natural to people who are using the internet regularly in their life.
Yeah.
Anonymous or not, right?
Yeah.
So is there such a thing that just hasn't occurred yet? Right. I would say yes. Maybe it's that it's exposed that there's really two guys doing this. Maybe it's that as a collective group of gamers, you all just stop listening to the trolls, or well, I don't know. I mean, you guys would know better, but maybe it just hasn't occurred yet. Right now it's hot and they seem like they have a huge army when, maybe time tells based on.
Well, it is easy to, I mean, if, we're one thing internet culture has always tried to do is say we're nothing like the mainstream. We do it our own way. We're more socially governed and, all this sorts of thing. But then I see us sort of fall into some of the same traps. And, I hate to bring up the Ebola thing again, but it's kind of a similar thing to me in a way. It's not that, I mean, it is never justifiable to threaten anybody with rape or murder or anything. It's just not, there's no justification. I don't care what your point of view is. However, the freak out over one, so let's say it's only ever been one or two people who have perpetrated all the threats, let's say. And again, we have no way to know.
Sure.
But there's going to be easy for the flip side of this, good people who are freaked out by this, to assign a lot more weight to it, whether that's in the form of this is tons of people. Well, that's kind of what it's done, actually, is that misogyny and horrible men against women violence is so still prevalent in our society in 2014. Here is yet more proof of it, and more proof than ever, because look at all these threats. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying I don't know, because nobody knows. Like it now it's all conspiratorial. It only can be. Like, I think it's worse. I think it's worse online than it is in real life because people can hide, and so it comes out more. But I also think that a lot of things seem worse online because it's out there and it's being published, and the loudest crap rises to the top, and there's just no way to avoid it. But for us to now decide that we haven't made any progress since Susan B. Anthony walked this green earth, well, that doesn't seem right either. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to explain, but this is not me trying to diminish the severity of what's come out of this particular controversy or any other where it's violence is perpetrated on anyone, women or otherwise.
Women or men, yeah.
It's just that it feels so much worse because nobody can tell what the hell's going on.
Right.
So it could be two people. And if it is two people, I just want a technology that would be able to somehow go, give me a screen and have it go like Professor X with his with his what's it called, Cerebro.
Yeah.
And just have me zoom in on the three people doing this,
all the bad people, right?
And just say, oh well, it's that guy. I mean, what
you want Minority Report is what you want.
Yeah, I do want that. I want precogs. Exactly. You got it. Nailed it. Anyway.
Well, and think about this for a second though. This is exciting, right? This is how people on the internet start to inform all of you that you are still human. And that is this is trash talk around, their daughter got knocked up, and we're going to talk about it around the water cooler back in the day, right?
Yeah.
It's exciting, and it's all of those things that are part of human drama, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it's hard to ignore their behavior. But honestly, ignoring their behavior is the only power that a collective group has, right? Because there is no way to find this person and punish them. First of all, freedom of speech there's an interesting case in front of the Supreme Court right now about a guy who threatened his wife on Facebook, and it was terrifying. And it was a bunch of rap lyrics. And one of the
heard about this. Yeah,
one of the documents actually in the court is from I'm not sure it's Eminem, a famous rapper. I can't remember who it was, but basically there were 4 F words in the document, which is hilarious. But it was
because you get to hear on like C-SPAN, you get to hear like some justice. Yeah,
and basically saying rap music is such and such and such and such, and is not used as whatever. It was a case against the guy. Like, he's claiming he's writing rap lyrics, but rap lyrics are a certain thing. Anyway, it's just an interesting case that's currently being looked at, which is this guy was publicly /known Facebook threatening his wife with terrible violence and pain, and she was scared to death. And he's claiming it was just his free speech rights. So interestingly, he was doing it publicly open with his name on it. And that's the argument he's claiming. But her claim to, potential imminent harm, also there's sort of a caveat in the law, which is, if a reasonable jury sees that, would they be threatened by that same messaging? And the answer was 100% yes. I mean, it was terrifying. So it's really currently debatable, like what is protected by free speech and what is not. So
yeah, but it seems like he's full of crap to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's hard to prove in court, and that's the trouble. That's the trick with justice systems.
Objection. The defendant is full of crap.
Exactly. And you can't say that. But, like, if I ever get in an argument with Kim and I yell and get real mad and out of shape, and when we're done and she says, you've never spoken so terribly to me, I'd say, oh, no, honey, I was just writing rap lyrics. I couldn't you tell?
This is my rhyme.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm doing like kind of a white guy rap thing. I'm really into it. And you were just, I didn't know that, I would be, that's me being full of crap is what that is.
Exactly. But here is this is what, and I'm saying this not thinking I could do it at all, which is when you get threatened to brush it off, right? To ignore, and for your community of online people to maybe defend, but the reality is there is a format because everyone is responding the way they're responding. This gets to the individual psychology of it. Let's say it's a 15-year-old kid, okay?
Yeah.
And it's just him, because it could be, right?
Who's doing the threatening, you're saying, yeah.
And he is in Oklahoma. I'm calling it out, people. There is a 15-year-old kid in Oklahoma who is doing this. And he is orchestrating this all by himself, and he's doing everything because he could, and so what you have is a super underdeveloped human being who hasn't learned anything and is saying whatever disgusting, disturbing thing he had planted in his mind in some point or learned or figured out, right?
Right.
And has figured enough about human beings to know how to scare the pants off them. And imagine the high. Can you imagine the high that this person has?
Look at all the attention I'm getting, and look at how people are like, leaving their houses and going to a hotel for protection.
No, it's huge. If that's think about when you're 15 and you threw your first pumpkin at a mailbox driving away on a truck or whatever.
Right, rock through a window at an abandoned building.
Yeah, it's this awful thing. It's illegal. It's this terrible thing. If you got caught, you'd spend time in juvie. It's all these things, but you got away with it. And for a 15-year-old mind with too much time on his hands, that's an enormous thing. We don't know. But this is the problem. See, if we just knew this somehow, that we knew even vaguely, 15, lives somewhere in the Midwest.
But don't you know it already? Does it matter if he's 15 and a kid in the Midwest? Does it matter if he's 50 and gross? Does it matter?
If he's 50 and gross. No, I guess it doesn't. It's just that this inability to hold someone to account is so frustrating.
Right.
And it's not, I mean, look, when somebody blowing off a troll for me is easy. Occasionally something will happen. I'm like, all right, whatever. The worst, harder ones are for me where people I kind of already know them and have dealt with them in the past, and then we have kind of an argument on Twitter or something, and then I just feel bad because that's a relationship that was okay before, and that's a more personal one. But when it's just like somebody going, you suck, well, no problem, dude. See you later. Block. Out of here. And then, like you said, the community backs it up and they do self-cleaning and all that other stuff. But when somebody says, I'm going to rape you and murder you, and I know where you live, here's your street address, they post all of this in a 140-character Twitter post. Mm-hmm. That just changes it. It creates whether they were ever going to follow through on it or not, whether they just did a simple search from Oklahoma and found this person's Google street address, is beside the point. In any other aspect, if somebody called you and said that on the phone, forget about the internet. Just go old school ways. Someone left a letter on your door and you opened it and went, oh my gosh, this person just threatened to kill me and murder me and rape me, and they know where I live because there's notes on my door. This feels the same as that. There's no less eminent sense. Now, maybe that's not accurate because the internet by its very nature maybe makes it so it is less eminent, but it still feels just as bad for that poor woman or poor man who's been threatened in that way than it did if it was a note on his door. I don't know how you get past that.
This is not particular to the gaming industry, obviously. This happens all over the place. And I find it particularly interesting when it's religious community people doing this. Someone disagrees with the stance they have, and these are Jesus followers I'm talking about, and you sort of go, wow.
Christians, then you're talking about then.
Yeah, Jesus followers is what. Because if you, whom profess to believe in yada yada and have, peace and compassion and love and forgiveness and all that jazz, that's part of where you're coming from, and you get that nasty.
Yeah.
Like you get so to me that tells me there is something at the core of all human beings. I don't care what you claim you are, or that you're good, or that you're whatever else, that there is a potential, like you said, there's a potential for everyone to get sort of that ugly or that nasty when their team is not winning, right? So I'm reducing it to team sports because I think it's really apt, right? My side, my voice, my opinion, and it could be you're very individual, but is being attacked or threatened, and you respond with uglier than the original attack. So whatever motivates them to get this ugly, it's either they're messing with everyone because they know how to push buttons and they're sociopaths, or they are genuinely, to their core, so threatened by what else is happening that they're fighting back in a way that is disturbing. And they wouldn't do in person because they socially don't have the cojones to do it. It wouldn't.
Is it normally there's an outlet for most people though, right? Like for you growing up, it was April Fool's Day, where Wendy got full reign of let's do the worst possible tricks on everybody in the family, and you were like prolific with that day. I remember thinking, man, some of these things outside of this day would be the meanest tricks to play on mom or whoever. But it was kind of I guess what I'm asking is there an innate desire in all human beings to have an outlet where they can get up to some mischief in that way?
Absolutely.
And so is this just...
We need our evil twin.
Is it that you've gone too far, right? Is it that you're sort of capable of things you would have not known you were capable of because the anonymity is that element of the recipe that allows you to go that much further, or that much more disturbing.
Right.
So let's talk specifically about the misogyny thing. I mean, there is, the internet is a great place to find your tribe, right? And I think what has happened is that there's always been misogynists, there's always been dirtbags, there's always been whatever, but they can, make a group together because the one guy in Cleveland and the two guys in San Diego, now we got a group, we have a club, right? And so I think there's also echo chambering that probably happens where that builds upon itself. And I mean, it's, to me, is the most childish, insane, ridiculous behavior to threaten those things. I mean, it's like juvie. That's why my assumption is they're 15, right? But I know older people have done the same thing. But if you think about it, and if you think about what rape is anyway, it is about taking someone's power, right? It's one of the most effective ways to take someone's power. So online, what's my effective way to take power from a woman is to threaten to rape her.
Yeah.
And I'm not a dude. I don't know if that feels the same for you, but I would assume if you were threatened that you were going to be raped, you would also feel a major loss of power. It's just the social norm.
Well, and you feel more of it. This is the disturbing part of this, is you feel more of that loss of power or that loss of your own control or whatever, because you can't look the dude in the face in a real way. If somebody, and I cannot speak from a woman's perspective on this, but if somebody threatened me with rape online, that to me is scarier because I have no power because I don't know who it is, than if somebody accosted me in an alleyway and said, I'm going to rape you. I could at least thrash about and kick that guy's butt as hard as I could. I could do something, and I'd know who this was. There is a physical
Not if
presence.
he's behind you, dude.
Well, he's still there, and I can still do stuff.
I'm kidding. Yes, right.
You know what I mean? So if you compare those two things, I feel like the online one is so much worse because there's just no way. Your imagination is all you have.
Yeah.
As to what this is, who this is, why they're saying it, what did I do to deserve this kind of treatment, blah 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 blah. Someone in the chat room said something interesting. It says it was White Top in there. It says a bunch of people responding to a threatening tweet, telling the perpetrator that what a piece of crap he is not helpful at all. It gives them the attention they want. Is there something to that where the community gets so up in arms that they there's more words?
They're feeding him. Yeah, I mean that's
my point. And I think there's another element here, which is when you respond, there is a train wreck you're watching. You guys, as the community, are a part of the up in arms. I'm watching a train wreck. You know how we always use that phrase. It's sort of, I've got to watch. I've got to be in tune. So you really, it's difficult to peel yourself away and say, you know what this dude needs? Absolutely nothing, no attention from anyone. So, hey, the rest of us, we're just going to huddle up and ignore that dude, right?
Just wither and die on the vine.
Yeah, and
basically.
he would.
Yeah.
He would. And eventually we'd find no forum for it. It would give him no rush, and he would likely stop. There are, yes, sociopaths who are just crazy. But I have a funny feeling that most sociopaths are not doing any of their threatening online.
Right.
I think that they're actually acting out their business. So if you think about, I mean, maybe you don't ever think about this, but there's some strategy to killing that's interesting, at least psychologically. If you take a knife and stab someone, or you choke someone with your bare hands, you are actively there's nothing between you and the person, right? Think of a stab wound. You have to get right next to them. You have to see their face. You have to be close in proximity. Shooting a gun is a weird, let's just move one finger, which is not a motion of death, right? It's just this very removed from the person. So a death by a gun is a much different thing than I've strangled someone to death, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's very grim, but there is something about the actual rapist versus those who threaten rape online.
Yeah, they're not the same, are they?
No, I don't think so. But I also could be dead wrong. There might be research to back this up that every rapist first threatens everyone online, but I really don't think so. I think the most common rapist is a dirtbag on a college campus, honestly, who waits till a girl's drunk.
Yeah.
I don't think he is stalking her on Facebook saying, I'm going to rape you, I'm going to rape you. I think he just goes and rapes her.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that, obviously, I don't know statistics on this.
Sure,
but
and there's some exceptions always. There's always something.
So to me, I feel like anyone doing threatening online is so impotent generally because of the avenue which they're picking. You know, there's some, and yet as a victim of the threats, you know, it's really easy for me to intellectualize this right now and say, well, you know, you just ignore it. Well, it's way, way different when they know your address and when they've threatened your physical well-being and threatened to kill all these people in an auditorium and then say it's all your fault. I mean, that's insanity.
It
right?
is. It just totally is. Whether or not he's 15 and totally would never act on this, it's still, that's enough to, those things should be investigated. Authorities it should be told. They should be able to try to track these people down like that. To just say ignore the trolls, at some point you have to do something. Maybe don't feed them online, but you got to do something at some point.
Is there an investigation? Are they digging into it? Do you know?
Oh yeah, I mean this is the problem with that whole story, is that it's being told from two very different perspectives. One is everything's out of control and Utah wants everyone to be shot, you know, that perspective, and the other perspective is, you know, well, hold on now, we don't know if this is a credible threat or not. The school, of course, will, you know, do all they normally do with security, but we're not beefing it up specifically for this because all of our existing measures are in place and would catch something like this anyway. So there's two very different tales being told. I don't know how much investigation is going on, though. I'm sure there's some. I mean, it's just
IP address checking and stuff like that.
But it's this whole problem of like, who knows what to do? Because again, we don't know who this dude is or how credible it is. You know, like, we don't know anything about it except that he said it. And that's where, this is the part that I don't like the most, is the more this stuff happens and the more the reaction is so visceral.
Yep.
Won't this just mean that people will be going, ugh, I can totally do that. It's just practical joking taken to a really far, an extreme where there's a lot of morality left at the door. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, they're punking. That's all this is punking, and it's dangerous, serious punking.
So I think the vast majority of people who are online are not going to go, ooh, I could do that. But I don't know about the developing minds online, right? Like the younger crowd is being socialized to some extent by what is occurring. So, you know, what is sort of the moral input in their lives, if this is a huge facet in their lives, are they going to learn from the community that responds in a certain way? Do they learn from the predator and say, "Oh, I'm going to be a predator"? I mean, I don't know that, but I would say the vast majority, of course, are not going, "Oh, this is a good idea. Let's do this."
Well,
but there will be some.
There will be, but isn't there always, like, whenever there's killings or, some of this I learned on television and movies, but when a serial killer goes on a rampage, there's not all that uncommon for there to be copycat killings, and you always have to be careful to make sure that you're knowing the difference between the guy who started it and somebody who's just doing a copycat killing. It seems like this is much easier thing to get into and be a copycatter for, because no one will ever know that you are not the same guy who started it or finished it or did it in the middle, and you see that it looks like fun because you're bored and you're 15. I mean, I know, but there's some great 15-year-olds out there. Trust me. I think Nick is on the way to becoming a great 15-year-old next year. I'm not worried about him. But my point is that this is huge copycat time if people wanted to. Just to get on for kicks. There's no other there's no downside to it. They don't lose anything. This doesn't cost them any money. There's no reason, if you are a jackass, there is no reason not to copycat and be a jerk online right now. And the more people give it attention, the more the worse that gets. But that's kind of part of this argument is like, well, ignore the trolls. Well, some people take that to mean, oh, fine, ignore the fact that we have people threatening real people with real harm. No, you can. I think there's a way to dial this into the middle someplace, like always, and figure out what that medium is. It's just hard to do it with a group. Everybody's got an opinion. It ranges from I don't care to I'm ready to kill somebody, and how do you? I don't know how you do it, especially when there's no leadership. It truly is anarchy in terms of thought, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not being pessimistic about it. I think people figure out ways to deal with these things, but right now it's just such a mess.
This is why when you listen to someone talk about anarchy, or even listen to a political view that is no government at all, no let free everything reign, I think, oh yeah, like, have you seen how people act when that's what they get? Yeah. Right? Because it really is maybe the one place that this does exist. Sort of govern yourselves. There's plenty of people who are governing themselves fairly well, right? Yeah. But then there's definitely always going to be those that don't. And so those who are governing themselves well collectively, I just think there's power in the internet and these sort of the community that is untapped because it's still pretty darn new, right? You're still figuring out. And I think a lot of it's happening. It just kind of happens, sort of self-policing. And, we've talked about those things. And I just think it's another challenge, another hiccup. Here's another thing. How do we balance or manage this? Where the old-fashioned Facebook case in front of the Supreme Court has to take its course as well. You're sort of doing it outside the internet and inside the internet. What does this look like? It's the nature of human relationships. And interestingly, I mean, crime generally in the U.S. is down.
Yeah.
So rape is down, crime is down. Generally, violent crime in some places is significantly down. So is it that online is a place to just be a criminal?
I don't know. That's a good question, because there's a lot of, there's talk about a lot of like, youth crime is at its lowest point it's been in 20, 30 years or something.
Right. And it's because they're hanging out on a street corner waiting to find some eggs to throw at a car.
Yeah, or whatever. Sure.
Online, waiting on a street corner. And so maybe it's just such a tempting, like you said, it's throwing eggs or a pumpkin. It's a less innocent version of that because it's just so much easier because of the anonymity, but the high is there. I mean, it's so human nature. I'm going to promise you these people are young.
It's just that it gets so intricate when you're dealing with, say, a person who's been threatened. Let's say, I would not feel good walking up to a woman who is threatened with rape and murder on the internet and saying to her, oh, just ignore the trolls. Like that's not enough to say that to her. It diminishes, in fact, probably contributes to the taking away of power. By acting like, oh, no big deal, you got threatened, big deal. Well, easy for white male to say. Yeah. It's not really cool at all. So I am of this weird split opinion of from the macro level, this will have a way of sussing itself out. We tend to do that as a race. We figure it out and we get there. And as a human race, but I don't also think we should just blow off the hard stuff. Like people, I guess, so somebody in the chat room said the FBI is now doing a full investigation of the USU thing. So I don't know what that means, but there's reasons that countries, states, and whatever have in place law enforcement, and you should use that to the best of its ability. This is no different than being threatened in any other way, and they should follow that through, and that will all contribute to the eventual however this susses out.
I would love for you to approach her or anyone who's been in that situation and ask the question, what is it you would like the online community to do?
Yeah.
Because there are millions of us that are abhorred by what happened and support you and want to do something for you. What would she even suggest? Because there's nothing like going through something and then have everyone guessing what you need.
Yeah.
And it's another to be able to actually articulate it, or to have someone ask you that question. It would be really intriguing.
Yeah,
to hear
I'd be interested in that. And there are people who have probably been threatened, who have listened to the show, who may even chime in on that. So it'd be interesting to hear back from people in terms of that perspective, because it's a very hard one to have unless you're the one being threatened. It's one thing to have an opinion that trolls are stupid, just ignore them, but that's because you're not getting threatened.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Someone doesn't like a picture of mine on Instagram and I'm suddenly offended. Like, how is that experience? I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to see if those who have been through it have written anything about it. I know there is a female gamer. I watched maybe it was a TED Talk she did or something.
This might be the girl who canceled the thing.
It might be, but she has been threatened. It might be the same one, but has been threatened, and kind of how to handle that. And, and so here's a question that is probably not a can of worms I should open, because, we got to go. But is there anything particular to the gaming world that lends itself to misogyny, that lends itself to the rape of women, the violence that's inherent in video games? I mean, is that contributing? I'm not saying, because there's plenty of people who do it, who don't threaten rape. I get it. But is there something about the subculture of it that, as opposed to a basket weaving group?
It's a worthy conversation and thing for people on all sides to talk about. See, this is my problem with this entire thing, is I think that maybe there is something to it, maybe there's not, maybe there's something to this whole ethics and journalism thing being especially bad in video games or something. Like, all of these are valid, arguable things that are worth talking about, worth sussing out, and all of that. I don't know why we can't just do that instead of all this other shite. Like, I would rather be able to sit down and go, and that's kind of what this Anita Sarkeesian does. That's kind of her thing, is she looks at, okay, what is it about games that maybe contribute to this? Why is it that women are so sexualized in games? Can anything be done about that? What's changing in indie development these days to sort of address that? She's just having the conversation. And this might be the one you heard, because I think she has done
I think it is.
TED Talk.
Yeah.
She's the one that canceled the USU thing because she got threatened. It pisses everybody off, but she could have 20 opinions that I only agree with 5 of, for all I know.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like, that's where I'm struggling, is we can talk about it. There's nothing wrong with talking about it. Actually, I agree with a lot of what she says, but that's not my point. My point is, okay, fine, disagree, straight to rape and murder?
See, in my argument about why it's so easy for you and Brian to be so logical and normal about all of this and be shocked that no one else is again, your sort of development has lent you to be in a position where you're middle of the road guys. You're sort of, hey, let's talk, and it's okay to have conversations, and that is a value, and not everyone is at that place, and maybe they're getting to that place, or there are people who never end up at that place. And so your argument's a good one, which is, hey, can't we just discuss this like rational people? And that is the only reason we have plumbing and cities, and we all follow like street signs, because at some point we all recognize the benefit of being reasonable, and we get along well enough to do some of those things. I think this is just new frontier of, how do we figure out this challenge?
Same problem, new venue, right? I mean,
yeah, new venue, and then every age range. We didn't have 12-year-olds in the market square having serious access to opinions and communication and ability to get us all, freaked out. The only way we know they're 12 is they're punctuation so bad. But other than that, we have no idea. And that has never happened before. They've never had the floor like they have now.
Yeah.
Because of anonymity and the internet, and they're smarter than all of us put together, right? I mean,
right.
It's just new. Anyway, yeah, they are.
I agree. Well, I knew we wouldn't solve this problem today, but I think it's good to dig through it, and I figured this show would be the best place to do it because everyone's been begging, hey, when are you guys going to talk about this? And I'm like, well, that may even be part of the problem, but yeah, we'll talk about it. And
Let's get a therapist who has never played an online video game in his life.
Yeah, but you understand humanity, and what is video games other than another distraction for that same humanity? I mean, it's the same.
Let me do a plug for video games really quick. I think it's such an incredible value to offer conquest and skill and sort of the way, the things that video games offer to your emotional life and your developing sense of, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite TED Talk about video games, I don't play video games, but I watch TED Talks about them, is how they talked about, video games that solve world problems. Like the game stuff it's who we are, right? Mm-hmm. At our core, we play games and we tell stories. And so it's really valuable. It's just going to have an ugly side like everything does. But her point of if women are portrayed and treated with such disdain and misogyny and their value is nothing but for sex, that is going to have an impact on people. So she's absolutely right to be talking about it. But, there's also sort of other good things. I just wonder, isn't there a way for maybe more women to be developers? I don't know.
In a way, it's weird because we've come to grips with it in other entertainment industries like film and TV. We've come to grips with this idea that there can be portrayals and stories that are very, seemingly on the surface or for real derogatory towards women or whatever the subject matter may be. And there's also going to be this huge amount of mainstream stuff that is not that. And then there's going to be like weird, fringy stuff that's, more of an artful take on those things, but still somehow deals with those issues. Like there's going to be a nuanced future for video games, whether we know this or not now. That's the future of it because it's always the future of all these things. And at some point, we'll come to grips with that. And what people are willing to see and watch and pay for will rise to the top, and what they're not will not. And we'll always be surprised that somebody somewhere likes some terrible thing. And we'll also be super glad that, Pixar exists. And it's just going to be that way.
It is. And I'm going to say this last thing, that the power resides with the white male. Maybe not white, but males in general. If you think about what we know about rape is that it's very few men, if we're talking men to women, just for now, it's very few men that actually are committing the rapes. Like if you take the college campus example, there is the real power in stopping rapes from occurring on a college campus are the other men that are around. Mm-hmm. The men who would never rape anyone, the men who are, know right from wrong and are, would, if they stand up, if they make comments, if they are, making sure their friend is staying away from a drunk girl, or, whatever it is, that their role actually as the guy next to the guy that's a misogynist is crucial. And so I look at video gaming maybe a little bit similarly. How about all you guys who are not misogynist? Do you support the video games that portray women in such terrible, like, are you the one saying, yeah, this is too much, it's not okay? Mm-hmm. And is that going to dictate the market of the game when if the majority of men who probably agree that it's too much don't put their dollars there, right? Or I don't know. I haven't even thought through until just now, and so it's kind of half baked. But I just think the dudes because women can stop playing those video games. There's probably not that many playing them, so their money doesn't speak very loud for makers and designers, unless the designers become women and have a certain.
Well, and that's changing. And the theory is the reason that there's all this freak out now is because that's changing, and there's resistance to that.
Right.
But there's the old guard who went from 15 to 25 during the heyday of modern gaming, and now they're feeling like they don't want their worldview of gaming to change, because there are a lot of really interesting things coming out of very interesting developers that happen to be women with different perspectives, and gaming for women has grown, and there are more and more of them playing, and it's more and more of a mainstream thing, and they're part of the milieu now, and there's an old guard who doesn't like the change. So just think of it as anything else, in the 60s in Alabama. Now suddenly we're telling you that the blacks can sit in the bus seats next to you and they can eat in the restaurant you're eating in, and what that does to the current worldview in certain people's minds, and why that created, I am not trying to compare the civil rights movement to something as
No.
silly as video games, but it's the same idea. It's the same human stuff, isn't it?
Right. And it's a subculture doing it, because there's many people who would have no idea this is even happening because they're not in that. Yeah. So it's sort of its own thing. Okay, now I need to go, but I have my Swedish thing that's totally perfect.
Oh, good. Give it to us, because this will be perfect. Let's finish this out with some Swedish weird words. Go.
Some up.
Word. Yeah. The word is kill.
Oh, wow. Kill.
Kill. And it means to tickle someone.
Oh, you're killing me.
Oh, you kill me.
Oh. So this little cute kid was on top of an American cousin.
Yeah.
They were just playing and they were wrestling, and the kid was learning English. And so in his broken English, he said to his mom, "Can I?" And then he used the Swedish word for tickle, and he said, "Can I kill him?"
I'm going to kill you.
Sure, go ahead.
Wow, boy, and it's in Sweden. You can't you can't separate the death threats from the tickle threats at all.
Right. I will tickle you.
Goodness gracious! All right, well that's better than fart bump or whatever it was. What was that one? Slut bumper.
Fart hinder.
I can't remember. I don't know why bump's in there. Wendy, I knew this would be an interesting topic. We are bound to get a ton of email about it and a lot of people talking, and that'll be interesting, I suppose. Or it will just be part of the problem because we can't all shut up about it. But we'll find out one way or the other. Have a great week. Enjoy your minivan, and may all your doors open automatically.
Yeah.
Bye now. All right. Well, there you go, Brian.
Very good.
That's some deep stuff right there.
That was deep stuff.
Deep stuff.
It's something I hadn't been able to wrap my head around all of the parts of it. I came into hearing about it yesterday when all the really horrible things were being said, the death threats, the most recent Twitter chain of death threats. And so I came into it like, how can anybody be on the other side of this, defending it?
Yeah, there's no way to defend it. There is an original argument that is an interesting conversation. Mm-hmm. This whole question about ethics in gaming journalism and whether or not it's up to snuff. That's a great conversation to be had. Why did we have to have it with all this other stuff?
Right, exactly.
Like you've just ruined any value in your point of view. And again, that's me saying that to people who I know don't feel that way, but maybe feel strong about the journalism part of it. But now they're left with a terrible, fractured, wrong people speaking for them platform. It's just bad. The whole thing's just bad. Anyway, good luck to everyone. TMS is over, though, for the day and for the week. We're not having a PM today because Brian's on a plane. He's out of here.
I'm on a plane.
Monday, we switched our Columbus holiday. Sorry, our Indigenous Peoples holiday from last Monday to... And yes, please quit emailing me and tell me how terrible Columbus is. I know he's bad. I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Has that come up a lot?
A whole bunch of emails. Tons of them. He was terrible. Most of them just point me to that oatmeal comic, which is fine. It was a good comic. But I already knew all these things. It's fine. Everyone's good. But we will be back Tuesday with a regular show, and Brian will be back from Vegas and have stories in tow, I'm sure.
I sure hope so, yeah.
Yeah, mom stories. Those are the best.
Oh, God.
Brian, why don't we leave them with a nice song in their ears before we leave?
Well, okay. All right, how about something fun here from Jim Bean. Yeah, that is really his name. Hey, Steak and Bacon. On October 16th, my wife Laura and I will be celebrating our 4-year wedding anniversary. 3 years ago, our first son, Lucas, was about to be born, and this year we're about 5 weeks from the birth of our second son, Liam. I would like to request a cover of Earl Had to Die by the Dixie Chicks. Just kidding. My wife is a huge fan of Def Leppard, so if you have any covers of them, I'm sure she would love it. Love the froyo, Jim Bean, faithful podcast listener.
Nice.
He actually did write all that. That wasn't me embellishing. He actually did put the whole Earl Had to Die.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes. So that's exactly what we're going to play. We're going to play a Def Leppard cover here of Hysteria. This is from a band called Love Drug. They released a best of collection in 2011 and included this great version of Hysteria. It's it's a break from the stuff I would usually go to pour some sugar on me or photograph, and decided, let's stray from the straight and narrow on Def Leppard and go with something a little bit different. Oh, by the way, the the chat room is reminding me, Cleo.
Oh, crap. Shite. I totally forgot. Hold on.
So let's pull Cleo in here.
Yeah, let's, we're not done yet.
All that request stuff.
Oh, yeah, look at the chat room. Jeez Louise. Yes. I should probably have looked at that. All right, hold on, Carrie. We're getting you in here. Just hang on. Holy smokers. That was an outcry.
Wow, well, tell me about it.
Jeez. Forget about Gamergate.
Internet freak out, I know.
Cleo Gate is what we got right here. All right, let's get her in here. Hello, Carrie. How you doing?
Everybody's favorite afterthought. Hi.
No, it's just so much on our heads today. It didn't occur. Plus, we were late and we figured, oh, yeah, we're done. But no, we're not done. Cleo comes in and she tells us all the funny stuff that happened during the week. And what would be Thursday without it? So, Cleo, go.
Alrighty then. I'm going to open this one with our very own Jeannie, who cracked me up today. Scott, she's always got your back for legal reasons. When you were making up crap and Googling medical history, she went ahead and just put in the chat room, if you're looking for historical info, TMS is not your source. So.
Well,
Thanks, Jeannie.
That's true. That's true.
We appreciate that. Earlier in the week, you were talking about Veronica and Elmo. I don't know how we went there, but Lou said Tickle Me V is my Sex Pistols cover band.
Oh, man.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was from this, by the way. That's what happens when you tickle the Elmo, the Veronica version. Tickle Me Veronica.
From the story about the parrot that was missing for 4 years that showed up speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
They couldn't communicate with him, said B4 Tank Girl, the birthday girl, as a matter of fact, until they had to start asking him, does Polly want a taco?
Oh, jeez. Actually, tacos sound great. I'm getting tacos today.
Tacos.
Yep. I'm in.
Wind Magus had 2 of them today that I thought were great. He had 2 lines that I thought were pretty good from today. Mendoza and his Goose Buddies is a good Top Gun remake.
That's pretty good.
And Hairy Moose on Your Face is the title of his Kardashian fan fiction.
Nicely done.
And the winner for the week, so I can get the hell out of here and everyone can go home, is I Am Sci-Fi, who said when we were talking about virginity and the professionals in that business, Hookers is the most expensive Hooters clone I've ever eaten at.
Wow. Hookers.
But their wings are delicious.
Yeah, they're amazing, right?
Jalapeno popper is fantastic.
You'll stay for the wings.
I like the breast.
Oh, the breast is always good. Cleo, it's always a pleasure. I hope you're doing well. Everything going okay?
I'm doing well.
That's good. I'll see, hopefully I see a Viking Lass later, and she can tell me tale of staying with you.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Bye now.
Exactly.
Right. She's already told us how weird it was at the Ibbot's house.
Oh, I know.
All right. Frogpants.com/TMS, themorningstream@gmail.com, and on Twitter, Coverville, Scott Johnson, and Morning Stream. Now that song.
Yeah, now all that stuff that I said earlier about the request, blah, 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 playing for my wife, happy anniversary, 4 years, birth of son, birthday for another son. There you go. So it is a cover of Hysteria by Love Drug from their Best of Love Drug album.
There you go. It's Hysteria. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody. All kinds of Frog Pants content between now and then, so make sure you catch up on all of that. We'll see you then.